Hello and welcome to the Social Emotional Learning or SEL lesson for this week. Today we will talk about emotional intelligence. And I know that's kind of a big word, so emotional intelligence. And we'll break this down and talk about what it means and how we can use some skills that we learned today that have to do with emotional intelligence as we interact and play with other people. So before we get started, let's do a quick check-in. So if you remember from last week in our SEL lesson, we talked about the power of yet. And that's just believing that you can do things that are hard and sometimes it takes work and it takes practice, but you can do it. You guys are all incredible people and are capable of a lot of wonderful things. So think about the power of yet and think to yourself, how have you been able to use the power of yet at school with your schoolwork? Maybe it was doing some math or writing a paragraph or your name. Or how have you applied the power of yet at home? Maybe it's something with soccer practice or basketball or piano or some of the other activities that you're involved in. So think about that and think about it to yourself, or you can tell someone at home, or you can just say it out loud. So, thumbs up on one hand if you have heard of IQ before. Have you heard of the word IQ? So, give yourself a thumbs up if you have, and a thumbs down if you have not heard of it. And it's okay if you haven't, no problem. So, on your other hand, think about EQ. Give yourself a thumbs up if you've heard about EQ before, and a thumbs down if you have never heard of EQ before. Okay, so this just gives you an idea of some of the concepts we'll be talking about today. So if it's a new idea, that's great. We're going to learn together. And if you've heard about it, you can think about what you know and how you can continue learning. So IQ and EQ are actually very different concepts. IQ looks at how you learn and how your brain is wired, and EQ focuses more on your emotions and identifying those emotions in yourself and others, and then kind of responding to those emotions. So, we'll learn today about EQ or emotional intelligence. And that has to do with social emotional learning when we look at the core competencies of insight, because we're identifying how we feel, regulation, because we're managing our emotions, and then connection, because we're making connections with other people when we recognize how others are feeling and just collaborating with them. Our SEL standards are being able to identify a wide range of emotions, demonstrating self control, and then treating others fairly and respectfully, as well as seeing multiple perspectives and being open minded. So that's kind of what we'll be working on today. Our learning targets are the same, and our goal is that you can manage your emotions and your actions related to how you're feeling, and you can be respectful and build positive relationships with others, showing that you value diverse perspectives. So, remember when I asked you thumbs up or thumbs down on one hand if you knew what emotional intelligence was or if you heard about it before? So, emotional intelligence is being able to identify and manage your emotions and then recognize the emotions in others. Okay? So, we'll talk about how we can do that today. So, look at these short little videos of each person here. We all have different emotions, and emotions are okay. That's how we feel. And it's really important that we remember that emotions are okay. But what we do with our emotions is what really matters. So look at each picture. How would each person be feeling? Think about this person and say out loud how she might be feeling. You can look at her body language, you can look at her eyes, you can look at her mouth, and that might give you some clues. She might be happy, she might be excited, she might be thinking about something fun. Okay, so she probably is feeling happy. What about this person? You can see she is moving around, her her eyebrows are kind of furrowed, and her eyes are looking like they might be upset. Her mouth is not smiling. It might look sad. She has her fist clenched. So she could be sad. She could be angry. Okay, so that this person is feeling very different than this person. What about this little boy? Do you think that he's happy or do you think that he's sad? Look at his mouth and his eyes and his hands, and that will help you decide how he might be feeling. Okay, let's watch this video clip from Inside Out, and this will show us how we can, or how the character Sadness identified how another character was feeling and then help that person or this character through a difficult situation. And if this video seems loud on your computer, the URL is right here. If you have somebody at home who could help you look this up if you wanted to watch it.
My rocket! Wait, Riley and I were still using that rocket. It still has some song power left. Who's your friend who likes to play? No! No, 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 you can't take my rocket to the top. Riley and I go to the moon. Riley can't be done with me.
Hey, it's gonna be okay. We can fix this. We just need to get back to headquarters. Which way to the train station?
I had a whole trip planned for us.
Hey, who's ticklish, huh? Here comes the tickle monster.
I'm sorry they took your rocket. They took something that you loved. It's gone. Forever.
Sadness. Don't make him feel worse.
Sorry.
It's all we had left of Riley.
I bet you and Riley had great adventures.
Oh, they were wonderful. Once we flew back in time, we had breakfast twice that day.
Sadness.
Sounds amazing. I bet Riley liked it.
Oh, she did. We were best friends.
Yeah. Sad.
I'm okay now. Come on. The train station is this way.
Okay, so you can see that just by taking a little bit of time and recognizing how somebody feels, even though it might be sad or hard to talk about that with them, they might feel a little bit better afterwards because they feel like their feelings are important and that they feel heard and somebody is just empathizing with them and trying to understand how they feel. So the character Sadness was able to recognize the emotion of another character. How do you think it made him feel? Do you think that that helped them connect and become better friends? And then what happened in the end? Was this connection helpful to him? So it may not have changed the situation, but it certainly helped him be able to cope with his feelings a little bit better. So, thinking about that, how can we show others that we recognize and respect their emotions? That's part of being emotionally intelligent, is being able to recognize and understanding and respecting other people's emotions. So, how do you think we can do that? Think to yourself for a minute. Okay, now let's look at a few examples of how we might be able to do that. You could remember how we looked at people's body language. We looked at their eyes and their mouth, and we tried to guess how they might be feeling. So you might ask somebody, are you feeling sad or happy or worried or angry or silly? Okay, are you feeling fill in the blank. We could also say, I see you're feeling sad, happy, worried, angry, silly, whatever emotion they might be feeling. So we're just trying to recognize in somebody else what they're feeling and then letting them know that we see that they're feeling that way. And if they're feeling sad or worried or mad, we can say, I'm sorry you're feeling sad. I'm sorry you're feeling worried. I'm sorry you're feeling angry. So that they know that you are empathizing with them, that you're trying to understand their emotions. If they're feeling happy or silly, you can say, I'm glad you're feeling happy. I'm glad you're feeling silly. Because that's great. We want people to feel happy and silly. So let's think about that. And for our checkout, you can say it to yourself, you can think about it, or you can tell somebody at home. Think of an emotion and share how you would respond to someone feeling the emotion. So it could be silly, it could be angry, it could be worried, it could be surprised, it could be happy. Think about an emotion and then think about how you might respond to somebody feeling that way. And remember, our responses can be, are you feeling, and I can see that you're feeling, maybe I'm sorry you're feeling, or I'm glad you're feeling this way. So think about that. And then this week, try to recognize in somebody else an emotion. And then say, I can see you're feeling happy. I'm glad you're feeling happy. And hopefully that helps you connect with another person, because people might forget what you said and what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that is a quote from Maya Angelou, and she was a famous, famous author. Well, thank you for your time today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day and practice emotional intelligence by recognizing the feelings in others.